So if you have been here and you've watched my other videos, you know that I like to sign off by always saying how every piece tells a story, and I'm glad that you're a part of mine. Well, today I've got lots of stories to share because you know I've been teasing and I've been promising that I was going to get around to finally giving you a house tour. And today is the day, at least for part one. So I have lots of stories to share with so many of the pieces that we have thrifted and bought secondhand that have really made our house a home. Creating a collected home does take some time. Now, Derek and I have been married for 25 years, and I feel like our home has been evolving that whole 25 years. But it has especially changed these last 4 years that I've been actively, weekly thrifting. And I love our home now more than I ever have. And I think it's because it's just a true reflection and of who we are and what our personalities are. So, and probably more of mine than Derek's. And he's wonderful because he always is like, that looks great. He's so complimentary of the things I pick out, and he appreciates my taste, and so I'm grateful. It's a vulnerable thing to open up your home because everybody's going to have their opinions of choices I've made. So it may not be your style, but it is mine, and I do love my home. I hope you will enjoy all these stories I'm going to share about the pieces that I've collected that make our house what it is. So instead of doing a whole house tour all in one video, I am going to break it up into parts. So today's part one is all about our formal living room and dining room. Now, I know like formal living rooms kind of aren't so much in style anymore, but our home was built in 1994, and this was just prior to all the big open concept ideas when it comes to home design and layout. But even though I don't have it decorated in a formal way, that is technically what the space is called. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started and start right here in our small little entryway and how I've tried to best define the space. Okay, so one of my favorite, and forgive me, I'm just gonna say it right now. I'm gonna probably say that a lot in this video. Oh, this is one of my favorite things. And you know, sometimes when I'm watching like a home-worthy video or someone else give their home tour and you hear that repeated over and over and they're like, oh, this is my favorite. Oh, I love this so much. Well, you know what? That is what your home should be. Your home should absolutely be filled with all of your favorite things because, right? What would the point be if it wasn't filled with your favorite things? So forgive me if I repeat myself multiple times by telling you that this is my favorite. But this is one of my favorite. One of my favorite furniture finds. So this cute little bamboo, technically I believe it is a desk. It's got the 2 drawers here in the front, and the way it's shaped and just the size of it, I do believe that that's what the initial intention of the piece was. But I got this at the Assistance League here in our valley for $100. I think it was $100, very well spent. It was in really good shape, and it's just the perfect size for right here in the entryway. And on top sits a lamp. Now, I think that I bet 99.9% of the lamps in our home are now thrifted. I love a lamp. I've said it 100 times before. And this one is such a good one because it is such a fun, funky, fat brass lamp. And here's the fun thing. When I found it, and I found this brass lamp at a Goodwill here, there was no shade. And by like the next week, and of course I just thought, well, I'll just order a shade because that's what I do a lot of times. Like the lamp base will be thrifted and then I'll order a shade in either the color or style or whatever that I want for that lamp. But it just so happens a week later, I was out in Ventura and found this black silk lampshade with the gold interior. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So I think the lamp base, I paid like $14.99 for it. And this shade, maybe $4.99. I mean, it's like $20 for the whole thing. And you know, if you came over to my house, if you walked in the door right now and you're like, oh, Stephanie, I love that lamp. I'm the person that would say, oh my gosh, I thrifted it, both pieces, $20. I do that with my clothes. I do it in my home. And there will be a piece of art I'm going to share with you here in a minute that we get so many compliments on it, and I have more fun telling the story about where we got this piece of art. And I love seeing people's reaction, watch their face change and light up when I tell them the story. So hopefully yours will do the same. I just wish I could see it in person. So lots of other fun things. This cute pig was from the resort that we stayed in for our 25th wedding anniversary, and you can only buy these pigs there at the resort, and it's supposed to bring like good luck and good fortune. So I have it here in my entryway. I don't know if that's very feng shui, but I like to believe like he's welcoming in all the good luck and good fortune, and he's cute, and he reminds me of the special week we spent at that resort. The art. This piece, this big fun piece, was actually painted by one of my sorority sisters in Oklahoma. And she was just getting started, and she was starting to put her stuff up on Etsy. And I said, I want to be your first customer. So I love that not only do I get to have a special piece of her artwork, but I got to be her first Etsy customer. So that's fun. This Miro print, that was thrifted. And this piece of original artwork, it is signed. It is a piece of, it is oil on canvas. It was framed in this great, it looks very 60s or 70s with this linen mat. I have tried to look up this artist. I can't find out anything about him, but I loved it, and I thought it was fun, and I think I got it at the Goodwill, one of our many Goodwills here in our valley, and I think I paid like $7.99 for it. I mean, just hardly anything at all. Okay, so this is our formal living room. So the couch and our 2 chairs are not thrifted. I saw once another thrifter talked about how her home, all of the soft goods are new. She buys new, so couches, chairs, pillows, blankets, all those kinds of things. And then all of the hard goods are thrifted or secondhand. And I thought, you know what? That's kind of what our home is too. And it's not necessarily a conscious thing that I was intending, but that's kind of just how it's worked out. So our couch, our pillows are all new. And then everything else is thrifted and secondhand, and are really the things that tell the story. You might notice all the books. Yes, I'm a huge reader. I've talked about it before on here. I can't keep every single book that we have because it would start to consume the house. So I do pass most books along after I'm done reading them, but there's certain collections, series that we love that I've held on to. And a lot of this is just fun. Like, I've always had a fascination with the British royal family, so a lot of that is here. A lot of books about Paris and France, which I'm a big Francophile, so I love all those. So really, our books on these shelves tell a lot about Derek and I and our family. Like, there's a lot of golf books and wine books those are Derek's 2 loves. And then we have our like family photo albums down here. And then mixed in with the bookshelves are all kinds of fun trinkets and finds that make me happy. Like these cute little brass kitties. I found these at a thrift store in the West Village when we were visiting family in New York City. And they were too cute to leave behind. And I had no intention of selling them. Even though that they're thrifted, they were good. They were thrifted for me. So I love having pieces that are thrifted, but also serve as a souvenir. Remembering a special trip instead of buying a souvenir that anybody could pick up, something special and unique is something I love to do. Now, you may notice, I don't have a ton of things that I've listed in my shop, in my home, but every once in a while there's a piece where I'm like, well, I'll just let that be displayed in my home until it sells, including this Delft blue and white incense burner. It's just has a little special spot, and if it doesn't sell, that's okay. I'm a huge needle pointer. These little gnomes, I started stitching during COVID, and I stitched a lot during COVID because there was so much time. But these are special because they are all our where we went to school, the boys' two schools, and also where the school that brought us out here, UCLA, where Derek used to be the head men's golf coach. I also have this signed drawing that I picked up at the Assistants League. I loved this piece of this tiger looking like he's about to eat the ringmaster. And then over here are three men that are kind of egging on the tiger. And then back here in the corner is a coffin waiting for this guy. So I just loved kind of the humor of it, the cartoon nature of it. I love how it's framed. And so it leans up here just because I think it's fun. Another little trinket that I thrifted. So when Derek and I got married, we had 2 Dalmatians, and this looks just like our Dalmatian named Domino. He had the white face and the black ears, and it is signed and dated 81 on the bottom. So it looks like this was hand painted, and it just looks like our Domino. And so that makes me happy. Little thrifted Wedgwood dish of the Tower of London that my stepsister picked up for me. And she picked it up, so, she was like, can you resell it? And I thought, well, I want to keep it because she found it, and it is the Tower of London, which we are excited because we're going to take our first trip to London this coming March. So that's already my souvenir from that trip. I'm ready to go. Italian mosaic frame I found at a Goodwill. The front is in excellent condition. It doesn't have any of the little tiny tiles missing, but it does have the little easel, the stand that should be soldered there to the back that makes it stand up, was missing. Well, it was too beautiful. I wasn't going to leave it behind, and I thought, well, that can just be propped up or put on some kind of an easel of my own. So I just have it leaning up here against some other books, and I think it works perfectly. This is my sterling silver baby rattle and my dad's sterling silver baby cup that just kind of sit here amongst the books. And this is a beautiful piece of Baccarat crystal that we were gifted when we got married. And it's right here next to my collection of Garfield comic books. So I love a fun mixture of things and a good high-low moment. Here's another lamp, another thrifted lamp, I should say. $14.99 from my local Goodwill. A beautiful piece of original artwork that I bought from a bestseller on Etsy. And this bud vase, this is the first of many bud vases that you will see during my home tour. It's one of the things that I like to collect. This one came from a ceramicist up in Davis, California. She was selling at their famous farmer's market, and I just loved the black clay and the small little neck on there. It's such a beautiful piece of art all by itself. So over here, I've got bookshelves on either side of the fireplace, and it's filled with all kinds of goodies. We've got family photos, lots more books. This set of books I thrifted at Goodwill. I love the colors of them. They're all the world religions. And then I actually found the set again, and so have a set of those right now in my Etsy shop. So I have one that I got to keep and one that I get to sell. So that's fun. Back when we were thrifting in Eugene, you might have seen the video where I came across this beautiful fish bowl. And it was priced, I think, at $30-something. And I immediately said, pick it up, we're taking it with us. We took the Christmas cactus out to set it down, to leave it behind. And the woman behind the counter said, well, it comes with that plant. So we were like, okay, we'll take it, I guess. So we brought it home. My son named it Steve. Not sure why, but I said, we need to give it a name. He needs a name. And so he said, Steve. And so Steve now lives here in our living room by this window. He seems to be happy. I'm hoping that he's going to bloom soon. Because he is a Christmas cactus. I think there's a couple little spots. I can't tell if that's just new leaves or I'm going to get any blooms this season or not. This is my first Christmas cactus. So he did have a little bit of trauma with traveling, and I did have to repot him. So we'll see. Steve is alive. He is growing new leaves, and he is such a great story. These huge Christmas cactuses by themselves are expensive. So the fishbowl and the Christmas cactus, and then to top it off, the little stand that Steve is sitting on, I thrifted down in Orange County at a Goodwill in Huntington Beach for $10 or $9.99, and thought, oh, that's perfect to sit Steve on. So he tells a really good story. Okay, here at our mantelpiece, I've kept it pretty simple. Now, most of the candlesticks that you see, other than the big hurricanes on the end, which I got on the sale rack at Pottery Barn years ago, all these other ones were thrifted, including this, it's not really a bud vase, but just a traditional vase in this Ralph Lauren herringbone, thrifted, I think for like $6. So that just sits right here because I like it with the other little crystal pieces. I think I found this piece it's a little Waterford Lensmore votive. I need to put a candle in it actually, but found this on Etsy. So I'm not just a shop owner, I'm also a shopper. I'm also a client. This piece is very special because it is by an artist in my hometown in Oklahoma named Jack Bryan. So one of my childhood friends, it's her father. And when I was turning 40, my mom wanted to buy me a special gift, and this is what we landed on, one of his original pieces. And so it's just very special to me for lots of different reasons. coffee table makes me very happy because it's filled with things that I really like. So the coffee table itself was actually thrifted at Goodwill. And then we thrifted it for $1. It was one of those where every once in a while our Goodwill, at least they used to do this, will like be trying to get rid of furniture and sell things for $1. And so this was one of those pieces. It weighs a ton. It is real wood. I think it's stamped made in Mexico on the bottom. Now, when we found it, it is this really very orange wood. Now, for some people, it's controversial to paint furniture. For me, it's not, because I don't have the time or the patience to strip wood and refinish it. Derek doesn't really want to do it either. So painting is a good solution for us. And so for $1 to get this real wood, very heavy, big sized coffee table was a great find. And you know what? If we ever do want to refinish it and see what the wood looks like underneath all kind of that orange varnish look, we can strip it and do it. But for us, in the time of our lives right now, this was the best solution. So this is, like I said, filled with my favorite things, including lots of art books that we have a lot that are thrifted. This big, beautiful vase is from an artist in San Diego. He is a ceramicist who, when I found him, so I found him on Instagram, and he said in the post that he had just made the leap to becoming an artist full-time and really trying to make his living as an artist. So that immediately pulled at my heartstrings, and I wanted to support him because he looked like one of our sons, not literally looked like him, but like he could have been one of our sons, right? That was trying to make it out in the world. And so, and plus I really loved his work. And so I actually watched him on Instagram make this vase, and I was like, ooh, I wonder if that's one of the pieces that's in his shop available, and it was. So I grabbed it, and I asked Eric beforehand, I was like, what do you think? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, go for it. So love that. Need to have some big, beautiful flowers to put in it. Don't have any right now. Have our fun collection of matchbooks, and also my other favorite collection. So my stepsister collects Halcyon Days boxes, the little enamel boxes that were made in England that are copper and then covered in enamel and usually have some kind of great scene on them. She has this amazing collection that I've always been envious of. And so I decided that I wanted to start collecting them for myself. Now, I have not had success in finding these in the wild as far as thrifting goes. However, I have found most of these all on eBay and Etsy. And so Derek appreciated it because he liked having something that he could buy me as a gift. And so it was super special for our 25th wedding anniversary, which was just this past May. He got me several of these boxes to add to my collection. This one is super special because it says the year 2000, which was the year we got married. And it's like a calendar and has all the months and the days of the month. And so our wedding date is on this box, as well as a lot of others that say 2000 kisses for the millennium. And, of course, just the 25 for our silver anniversary. So I have a bunch of these that mean something to me. There's an Oklahoma one, which is where we're from, and then several California, which is our home now, and just some other fun ones that I just think are special. I also have a Christmas collection. I'm going to do a fun video very soon about all of my fun Christmas collections. There is a reason why this channel and my Etsy shop are called Collected California. I like a good collection. I like collecting things. And as you can see from my space, I'm sharing this one room, how many collections I have. So I love bud vases. I collect a lot of those. These Halcyon Days boxes. Books. I love a good book. I guess you could say I collect lamps, but what else? And then I have some other things. Handbags. I collect handbags. I'm curating. Someone on here said it's a curated collection. Absolutely, it is. So I love displaying these special things right here on my dollar Goodwill coffee table. Here's another Ralph Lauren herringbone piece that I thrifted. This we thrifted in Charleston when we were visiting. I found it in a thrift store, another one that did not know what they had. Got it for $6. And I have filled it with these fun California trivia cards that I think are fun for somebody to sit here and pick up, and just something unique and different to have filling this fun bowl. So I'm a huge needle pointer, as I already said. Now, these are my naughty coasters. I won't pick up the other ones of what they say, but I think they're fun. This is yet another lamp that I thrifted. That is one of my favorite finds. I found it at a Goodwill here locally. Now, this lampshade was not original to it. It had a big white one that's over there that I'll show you here in a minute. But I didn't love the shade that it had. So I ordered this black one, which is a pretty big size, because the lamp, I don't know if it's doing justice to how big this lamp actually is, but I got this lamp for $14.99, and I wish I knew who made it or its origins, because it's such a unique piece with this little floral design in the front. But it's such a statement, and it looks beautiful here on this table in our living room. Speaking of more high-low moments, I have this Waterford candy jar that was a wedding gift next to this parrot that I found at Goodwill that stamped Czechoslovakia on the back, and that I just think he's fun next to a heron baby shoe that we were gifted when our first son was born, and another little heron piece that was a wedding gift. So highs and lows mixed together work really well. And this is another Etsy find, a little oil painting that I just thought was pretty. I love the size. And this frame was, of course, thrifted, and it's a photo from my 50th birthday. Okay, here's the other bookshelf that matches the one on the other side of the fireplace. These two ginger jars, thrifted at the Goodwill, in between this beautiful piece of Waterford that was yet another wedding gift. Lots of wedding gifts in this room. I'm just now coming to realize. This beautiful, I don't know if it's a print. It is actually signed up here by the artist, and it says that it's 25. I can't tell if that's, I believe that's 25 pounds, but it says that it's an abbey in England, and I loved it, and this was the frame that it came in, and so I just brought it home and put it right on the shelf, which is so nice when you don't have to do anything to something. You just kind of clean it up real quick and put it on the shelf, and voila. Some other little trinkets and special things, some Limoges boxes. The Majolica down here, I found this bigger piece at an antique store in San Diego. This dish was from an estate sale that had been going on for like 2 or 3 weeks. And it was the last day of the sale. Everything was 75% off. And I saw this dish in the photos and I thought, I'm sure that won't be there. And it was still there. It had, the original price tag was $10. I got it 75% off. It is cracked here on the end here, and there's a chip and some other crack. I mean, it's old. It's an old piece. But you can't tell that from the front, and it's not like I'm gonna be eating out of it. It's just for display only. So I will say this, don't let these chips and cracks bother you. Like, antique pieces, unless they've just been really, really well taken care of, will probably have a little bit of damage in some way, shape, or form. They're not meant to be perfect. They're antiques. And so I loved the colors of this. I loved that it was still there. I loved that it was $2.50. So it sits here right next to this little heron dish. It was 50% off at Goodwill, so I ended up paying, I think, a couple of dollars for this as well. So it's heron. It has a little crack right here on the edge. But again, I just think it's pretty. And the crack, I guess cracks don't bother me. Now, if it was some glaring, like that was the only thing your eye could see, then maybe it would bother me. But it's a beautiful piece and it deserves to be loved. And this bowl, again, I found at the same Goodwill as the heron little decorative bowl. This is by Simon Pierce, which is a beautiful glass blower, a company out of, I believe it's out of Vermont. And so I got this for an amazing price. I can't remember exactly how much, but I remember being thrilled because his work isn't cheap. I have 2 hurricanes that I'll show you on my dining room table that are by Simon Pierce, and I bought them as seconds because it's so expensive. I'll buy a second first. I'll buy a second first? I'll buy a second before paying full price because I'm okay with a slight variation. So I was thrilled to find this piece just here in our local Goodwill. Okay, now this piece of artwork is one of the favorite things in our house. And I think Derek would agree with me that it's one of his favorites as well. If there was a fire, God forbid, and you know we've dealt with that in a bad way here in California, last January especially. If there was time and we could grab a couple of things, it would be hard not to grab this. Because although there's lots of things in our home that would be irreplaceable, I would just be heartbroken to lose this piece. And mostly because of the story that it tells. I found this at a garage sale. The story is, Derek and I had just gotten engaged. My mom and I were out doing something, I don't even know what it was, and we drove through a neighborhood that was having a garage sale. And it just so happened that the young man that was having the garage sale was a student at the local university, the University of Oklahoma. He was getting rid of a lot of his work. And he had it all just kind of propped up in the driveway. And he had 2 of these. And why I didn't buy both of them, I don't know. I only bought one. And do you want to take a guess how much I paid for it? And I mean, it's huge. Original work. Sadly, it's not signed. If I'd known better, I would have said to him, can you grab a Sharpie and sign the back of it, or, you know, sign it somewhere down here? But I was younger and I wasn't thinking in those terms. So I don't even know who the artist is. So if you're watching this and you recognize your work, would you please reach out to me, because it's seriously one of our favorite things. But I bought this for $15. It's been in every home that we've had. Like I said, I bought it when we were engaged. My mom was like, ooh, well, Derek might not like that. Are you sure? Because this is 25 years ago. There was no FaceTime. There was no taking a quick picture and sending it to him to look at in a text message and say, do you like this? Should I pull the trigger? I was just like, no, I love it. And it's $15. I'll take my chances. And so I showed it to Derek and he immediately went, oh yeah, that's great. And he said, and when I told him, I was like, there was 2 of them, but I only bought one. And he said, why didn't you buy both of them? So that's how much he liked it right away. And I wish they would have bought a lot more of his work because it was just fun and unique. I love the rose that's kind of here in the middle and a couple more there and the bright colors, and it makes me happy. And I love telling people this story because we get all kinds of compliments on this piece and I can't help myself. Every time I have to say, I bought that at a garage sale, $19.99 for $15. Oh, because it's a lot more fun that way, right? Than saying, oh, we paid $50,000 for it at auction. And no, that's not fun. What's fun is a garage sale for $15 for an original piece, a huge original piece of artwork. Okay, speaking of huge art, these three pieces behind me are special because it belonged to my grandparents. So it is a piece by R.C. Gorman, who is known for his beautiful work of especially Native American women. So I had someone ask me, oh, do you have a really Southwestern home? And I said, no, I do not, but I do have a very eclectic home. And I love art and I love mixing lots of art together. So this is a special piece. So I talked in the other video, this fun champagne bucket we thrifted, or we found, I should say, at a like street market, pop-up market in Paris that we stumbled on like on a Sunday. It's Derek's favorite find. I would say that we paid up for it, but it was a fun souvenir from that trip. And now it holds our fun Jeroboam that we just found recently at Savers. Yet another thrifted lamp. I know, you're shocked. So this huge wine rack over here, we thrifted at a Salvation Army. It was just a natural wood color, so we decided to paint it black. And I think we paid a whopping $15, $20, something like that for it. You might recognize this from the video that we did thrifting at the Rose Bowl Flea Market. I was looking specifically for a basket that I wanted to turn into a light fixture for this purpose. And we found a basket and we bought it and we thought, okay, that will work. We can probably make that work. Derek was going to finagle it to make it happen. And then there was a vendor that had this wired and ready to go. However, the plug was not hardwired. It was just to like plug into a socket, and it was really meant to be outdoors. And it wasn't long enough because we have really tall ceilings in here. So Derek ordered new wiring and fixed it, and now it's here over our dining table. And it's perfect, and it makes me happy because it's a story. It's exactly what we were looking for. And so it's nice to kind of already have some of the parts cut out, and it was just the perfect size, and it's great. I love it. And it sits over the bowl that we got while thrifting in Carpinteria that I picked up at that antique store. And then these two hurricanes are the Simon Pierce hurricanes that I just mentioned. I think this style is called Nantucket. And these are seconds, so they're slightly different from one another, but the same. So it's not really buying secondhand, but kind of is. So remember how I said that there was a lampshade that came with that big ceramic floral lamp base that I didn't love? But it was so unique and so big, I couldn't get rid of it, even though I was switching out the shade for something different. So I held on to this and kept it in the garage. And then I found this base while at my local Goodwill and decided to bring it home and discovered that, you know what, this is perfect. And it's perfect in this corner. And it just works. And this little vignette that I have right here is just more of my favorite treasures. Again, more needlepoint in a thrifted brass frame. And then I ordered a mat to go inside it that made the needlepoint kind of fit in there. I thought it was perfect. This alabaster vase I found while we were thrifting in Santa And I just think it's beautiful, and the light that glows through it. So you'll notice that Vases are definitely a theme throughout my house. So bud vases is something I'm attracted to, but clearly like all kinds of vases are. This cute little, he's just a marble little lion, and I found him at the Assistants League for I think $2. And he's just a little cute trinket that that I love to just sit amongst these other fun things, as well as this this old book that I found at Goodwill. I found several of these that were in these boxes, but the covers themselves are so bright and so colorful, they deserve to be out of the box. This little piece of pottery was in a box at the Santa Monica Flea Market. It's actually stamped Winfield, Pasadena, which was an old ceramic studio here in Pasadena. And it's just a little turquoise, has a turquoise interior. It was in a box down with a bunch of other stuff that the vendor just had sitting there. And so I kind of dug through it and I made a big pile and said, okay, what can you do for this whole pile? And so I ended up paying like a couple of dollars for this. And it's just, if you know, like ceramics have a big history here in California. There were so many different ceramic studios that are kind of no longer in business here. And this is one of them. And I bought this with the intention of selling it, but I can't part with it. Ceramics are another thing that I enjoy collecting. You'll see that when I do the tour of our kitchen. But so I decided to keep this, and it sits here with my other thrifted treasures. And the last thing I'll share is this beautiful piece of original artwork that we bought in a little town in the Santa Ynez Valley in a town called Los Alamos. And Derek and I both loved it, not just because of the colors, but because it's a beautiful view of the Central Coast and the California coastline, and just how beautiful it is. There was a art collective there in Los Alamos, which is really a one street town, very small, and that was in there. So I love finding original artwork at a great price, and obviously supporting artists when we can. And I will say that I don't think that art, the worth of it, the financial number attached to art isn't as important as how it makes you feel and the memories and the story that's behind it. I hope you enjoyed this part 1 of our house tour. We'll take you through this way in part 2 to share our kitchen and our family room, which is really where we spend the majority of our time. I can't wait to show you that. So if you wouldn't mind taking the time to hit the like and subscribe button and hit the bell notification, so that way you'll be notified when more of these videos like part 2 of my home tour come out. And as I always like to say, every piece tells a story, especially beautiful artwork that you pick up while on vacation. And I'm really glad that you're a part of mine. Until next time, bye.